Hey, Buggies, it's me, Jesse D, or Zach Ari Superfree. No, that's not the final intro. I'm just trying to make random intros as I go when I make these videos. But I do want to make this a genuine video, since the last video I posted was more emotional. And I want to say that it meant so much to me to get your support for what has been going on. That last video was me emotionally catching up much later than when things had happened. So in the last video, I was mostly going over the half breakup that Jack and I went through. And when I say half breakup, that doesn't mean that one of us is broken up while the other is still a partner. That means we're on a break until we can get ourselves in a better situation. But I also want to add that Jack went into the hospital this past Saturday night and has been put on a 14-day hold in the hospital. It's a good hospital. It is, I'm not going to say what it is, just in case, so to respect his privacy. But it is a good hospital that we previously had Jack go to so that he can get himself better. And Jack went completely manic going into that last Saturday. And it had brought a bit of chaos in the way that he didn't have control over himself much anymore. And he was more or less disconnected from cognizance. He couldn't quite grasp the logic of a lot of things. But I did speak to him earlier today, which is now yesterday, on the 11th, and he is a lot clearer than he has been since going hypomanic and manic. He is still showing signs of the bipolar manic episode, but he's still a lot more here. There are just lingering traits that he's trying to heal from. And I was talking things out with him, and he was talking about leading into our half breakup. For most of the time, he wasn't really recognizing a lot of people, and he wasn't really recognizing me. And that is because I shut down for almost 3 years after I left Illinois from my mother. It was me falling into mental illness in combination with coming to terms with the improper parenting that my biological mom did. My biological mom has narcissistic personality disorder, though not actually diagnosed, because she doesn't want to get the psychiatric help. But she does show multiple signs, and it does extend from her own mother, my grandmother, who had even worse narcissistic personality disorder. So my mom is unknowingly acting through her trauma without working through the stigmas of mental health. Now, I am probably a poster boy at this point for mental health because I talk about it so much. I mean, just this Tuesday, I went to my psychiatrist and had spoken about a lot of my habits I have been having, and organization issues, and motivation issues, and cognizance issues. I took a form that had to do with seeing about possibly having ADHD, and I scored high on the form for having ADHD. Therefore, I am currently taking Adderall as a maintenance / as needed basis. I am taking it during the week while I'm working, so that way I can feel, hopefully, centered and able to not make mistakes, because at work I would constantly make small mistakes because of absent-mindedness that would constantly happen. But now that I'm on Adderall, which is used for the intent of concentration and focus, I am seeing myself be a lot more organized in what I do. Now, if I was someone who didn't have ADHD, Adderall would act a lot more as a stimulant and probably send my heart rate a lot higher. Now, I've been keeping track of my heart rates throughout these past couple of days, as this is day 2 on Adderall. So far, I feel like I'm a lot more here in addition to what everything else I've had. So it's like Adderall is another stepping stone in how I'm doing. But that's just currently how I'm doing. Jack, he's going to have to be patient, as he knows, for these next couple of weeks because of that 14-day hold that he has. That was due to how he was in his earlier state, when he was more aggressive and not completely in control. And there are reasons that Jack knows and understands for why he acted the way he did, but there are still possibly a few gaps. However, he is, again, a lot more clear-headed than he has been in a long time. And Jack, Jitterbug Jive, he's taking newer medication that may set him on a bit of a better route mentally. Kind of like how I've been going through my medications. He's now going to probably be on new medications that seem to be working. And it seemed like he was definitely more himself. And he did still seem maybe slightly hypomanic. Hypomania is pretty much your perception gets a little hyper. And you believe metaphors, for example. But that's not where he's at. He's himself, but it's like he's got a bipolar buzz, I guess you can say. So as far as how we are doing as a couple of partners, that remains to be figured out as he heals and figures himself out again. And I've been figuring myself out quite a bit. So, a repeated note, I am polyamorous, meaning I genuinely, romantically love more than one person. I romantically love Skipper Otter / I'm sorry to use it, I'm being awkward about this because Skipper Otter / Sunbeam, my girlfriend, she is trans woman, but early in the stages of transitioning. So it's in an awkward state where she is still very much her male self. So Melody, Sunbeam, will be transitioning as time goes on, and she is getting therapy to also help with that. And you know, Jack is trans man. So when I say trans women, that's male to female. Trans man, female to male. But you may not understand transitioning or transgender too much for those of you who might be new to this, but I do recommend researching a lot. So I genuinely and romantically love Melody. And with Jack, we got disconnected early on when we moved to Oregon because I collapsed and then Jack had his manic episode and had been going through therapy for a long time. Now, it may not have been the exact medications he needed, but maybe now he'll be where he needs to be. So I am hoping for the very best. And Jack and I did say we're going to hope for the best and definitely see how things go. And he did discuss with me about how he felt around those times when I wasn't myself. So trauma and mental illness is very real. You may not be able to see it, but as the saying goes, not all scars are visible. But if you want to lighten the mood a little bit, I recommend going down to click on my TikTok. I'm relatively active on there still. And I am doing, again, short sketch videos, mainly comedy, just because I come up with silly ideas that just work in the moment for 15 seconds. So, since I'm used to the temperature of the Dr. Hooves fursuit, that is more easy for me to look into doing once my focus gets even better. And for the TikTok compilation, that is also still one of the two for the content videos. I know you're probably expecting more for me to do, or you might not be expecting me to do more because you know I'm human and I'm doing my best. But I felt like I needed to guarantee what I said, and I felt like I would let you down by not coming forward with what I set out to do. So I will still do these update videos because, for example, I want you to know how Jitterbug Jive / Bald Dumber Rat / Jack is doing and how I'm doing. So I love you, Melody, very much. And I love you, Jack, very much. The two of you have stuck closely to me since we've met. And we both started out with awkward crushes. So I found it to be pretty interesting that the two of you would come to me just as I was also going to you. Kind of awkward not knowing how to go about things because I was still learning and thought being polyamorous was unnatural because we're kind of in a country where it's normal for people to be only in a one-on-one relationship. So me being in a love triangle of sorts, where it's only like me and then Melody and Jack. Melody and Jack, they haven't found a connection yet, so I'm not going to force them, but they both understand that we're all consenting that there is partnership and friendship around. So Jack and Melody, they're still good friends and they get along very well. It's just they haven't reached a point where it'd be romantic relationship status. I'm the one that would have two partners. But for right now, just so that we can get ourselves where we need to be, Jack is going to be taking care of himself as he needs to. And I will still be with Melody and still love her. So these two people have meant a lot to me because they get to know a lot of deep things about me. And family, they know a lot of deep things about me too, as far as who I am. But there's always something different about finding a partner. In this case, there's always something different about finding partners who can really love you for a lot of different reasons and all different ways. But they love you in the way that they want to be your partner in life. Family will be family because they'll support you and love you very much in a very similar way, but it's not romantic. You know that. It's that there is love that I'm thankful to have. But what's important right now is thank you. Thank you so much for supporting us, for supporting everyone I know. Thank you for being here and sticking around. So I want to just let you know I'm going to be more myself than I've probably ever been. It's really interesting just to track how I change over time, because it feels like I go through different versions of myself, and then I'm just like, oh hey, and now I'm like this. It's a lot to handle, and not everyone will understand what I go through because they're not with me every day. I'm with me every day, and when you're with yourself every day, you know a good portion about what goes on with yourself. Everything else, you hopefully should have a good support system. So what's important is make sure you have an awesome support system, because you are an awesome support system as it is. But even support needs support. So I will leave this where it is and say, I will see you in the next video. I love you lots. Thank you very much. And I can't thank you enough. And I will respond as soon as I can to the messages. And I'm honestly hoping that with this Adderall that I've been put on, it should be that nearly final push for me to get the focus I'm missing. It's really hard to try and do something, but just be so unfocused and unwilling. Not because it's what I want for how it happens, but it's because this this unfocused procrastination, it's really hard to work through when it's a stuck state of mind, no matter what I do, because I would start and then I'd crash. So for everyone, I'm hoping for the best. And until I see you guys next time, I still love you very much. And you have an awesome morning, a good afternoon, a lovely evening, and a very good night. See you next time.